Welcome, Tech4O channel here, I'm Michael. That's a new device coming from RikoMagic, and that's an Android TV box. The most popular one you probably know is NVIDIA Shield TV, which is kind of a complete solution. First of all, it has all the needed Google certifications, and second of all, it comes with a game controller, and that at a price of $190, at least at the moment. This buddy here costs between $130 and $140. To open the clamor, and a big thanks to gearbest.com for giving this sample for a test. So, when you buy it, it comes without a game controller. You need to purchase that separately. And is the price tag justified? And what else this new hexa-core device with 4 gigs of RAM can do? Time to find out. I am starting this review with a lot of excitement. The reason is the manufacturer. There are only 2 popular brands that made it through the years, Minix and RikoMagic. And now you know what RKM stands for, sort of abbreviation of the company name. Years ago they managed to bring a lot of innovations in the TV box world, and let's find out what's the deal with the MK39. Opening a new Android TV box is not as exciting as learning about a new action cam. The accessories are almost always very similar. What we are finding here is more or less standard. Taking everything out one by one, here is the remote controller, kind of generic, not an air mouse unfortunately. The pull strap is a good idea, makes the installation of batteries much easier than usual. And the color choice is good, although there are no orange elements on the box itself. The power adapter is a surprise. While most TV boxes run at 5 volts, this one outputs 12. The goal is to have better support for the USB ports, and there will certainly be no issues with attaching a 2.5-inch HDD. Now, the box is pretty large, among the biggest I have reviewed lately. I hope to see a small monochromic display on the front, acting as a clock and status bar, but there is no such thing. Because of the larger body, there's generous amount of space for a lot of convenient ports. On the back, RJ45 for up to Gigabit Ethernet, USB 3.0, HDMI out, SPDIF, and, weirdly, headphone jack. I wish that one is AV out, but it is not. And we have AV out available in the Tanix TX3 Max, which costs almost $100 less than this one. Surprisingly, there's Type-C port on the side, along with the other 2 USB ports and a micro SD slot. I didn't mention much about the antenna. It looks weird, very weird, but does brilliant job with the signal reception. I will highly recommend this box for European customers, as we have stricter regulations about signal transmission here, and this antenna guarantees you get better than the average reception performance. It is unfortunately not detachable. I say unfortunately because it looks quite ugly and weird. There's almost nothing interesting at the bottom except the reset button. As usual, I'm quite curious about the real hardware components, and breaking into the mainboard private launch was quite easy and leaves no signs of the intervention. This large heatsink and the generous amount of space guarantee adequate cooling even when stressing the box continuously. We find here the RK3399, currently the most powerful 64-bit Rockchip CPU, which is paired with 4 gigs of RAM. NAND is Hynix, 32 GB. We can see the AP6255 Broadcom wireless chip, which supports 2.4 and 5 GHz Wi-Fi, meaning dual-band wireless. And we can conclude that connectivity-wise, with exception of 5.1 audio pass-through and no AV output, this device is quite decent. We now know that the hardware is excellent. Let's explore the software. First thing we notice is the launcher. I haven't seen such a terrible one for a long time. Knowing it is 2018 at the time this product is released, and that there are so many great free launchers, I'm wondering why RikoMagic would use this thing. The situation is actually worse than that. None of the popular third-party launchers are working. Apex and Nova are both crashing, so are other Android TV launchers I've tried. You have to either live with that and hope an update will fix crashing of other launchers, or get another model of a TVbox. Because the device is running pure Android, namely Nougat 712, there is access to most of the apps in the Play Store, everything works fine and smooth, and there's almost no bloatware. By the way, an app I will highly recommend, which is a good alternative to the Play Store, try Aptoide. Works great on Android TV-based systems too. The usual testing. Antutu was first, but it freezes at 17%, so I couldn't get a final result. Geekbench was fine, however it showed results a bit lower than what I hoped for. Single core performance is really good, but multi-core only 2500. I believe some kernel optimizations may unlock the hexa-core CPU potential. Using AIDA64 we explore most of the important features, including the current temperature and the codecs. Everything looks good and there is hardware-level support for VP9, used for smooth YouTube playback, as well as H.265, known as high-efficiency video codec. You can play high-definition videos which have considerably smaller size compared to the more popular H.264 codec, and more devices are supporting it now. For example, the GoPro Hero 6 action camera. The box arrives pre-routed with Super SU279. This of course has some implication on the Google licensing side, like no Widevine licensing, which is what Netflix is using to allow usage of its own app. The original Netflix app does not work on TVboxes with root since 2017. There is a cure, of course. Just get the L3 Widevine-enabled app, which I have linked in the description below the video. It will allow you to stream Netflix in at least 720 by 480 resolution. Via the Bluetooth, I easily connected my Xiaomi joystick. It's been a while since I had so much positive gaming experience on Android. Very smooth, no frame skipping, very adequate playback, and where possible I have enabled the maximum graph options. You've been watching to some footage from Traffic Rider and Rio Racing. PUBG runs good too, although with just the minimum graphic levels. You may notice some frames skipping from time to time, but that is bearable. Conclusion time. A tough verdict. Very capable hardware, encased in relatively cheap-looking plastic, with some software remarks and decent performance. Personally, I can't stand any other launcher but Nova, and to me the inability to run a third-party one is the deal breaker. On the other side, I'm sure that the smooth running of PUBG, Rio Racing and many other apps and games will motivate a lot of you adopting the MK39 as a relatively cheap gaming box alternative to other more expensive solutions. In my opinion, if the price was $30 below the current one, it was about to be a great one. Looking forward to hear from you in the comments below. At the end, please do spare a moment sharing, liking and subscribing. The channel already has a Patreon account, which can give you some chance to contribute and somewhat influence our future plans. It's been a pleasure to have you around, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you soon.